Welcome back to Zen Zone Health, your trusted source for all things mental wellness and emotional well-being. Today, we're diving into a topic that's often swept under the rug, but impacts millions of adults worldwide: the long-term effects of childhood emotional abuse and its lasting impact. The scars of emotional abuse run deep and can manifest in ways you might not even realize are connected to your past experiences. If you experienced emotional abuse as a child, whether it was constant criticism, manipulation, intimidation, or being ignored, you might recognize some of these behaviors in yourself as an adult today. We're going to take a hard look in the mirror today and identify those signs together. This isn't about placing blame or pointing fingers. It's about understanding, acknowledging, and ultimately, taking control of your life and your future. You deserve to live a life free from the weight of your past. So let's get started on this journey together.
Now, this one often goes hand in hand with conflict avoidance. It's the people-pleasing syndrome. When you've been conditioned to believe that your worthiness is dependent on the approval of others, you become a people-pleaser. You bend over backward to make everyone happy, often at the expense of your own well-being. But here's the truth: you are enough. You are worthy of love and respect, just as you are. It's time to break free from the need to please everyone and start prioritizing your own happiness. Let's talk about shyness and its impact on our lives. Some people are naturally introverted, and that's perfectly okay. It's a part of who they are. But if you find yourself crippled by shyness, unable to speak up, share your thoughts, or connect with others on a deeper level, it could be a sign of past emotional abuse or trauma. When you've been repeatedly criticized, ridiculed, or made to feel small, it can be terrifying to put yourself out there and be vulnerable. You might fear judgment, rejection, or even more criticism from those around you. So you retreat into your shell, hoping to avoid any potential pain or discomfort. But the world needs your voice, your courage, and your presence. It needs your unique perspective, your talents, your light, and your contributions. Challenge yourself to speak up, to share your thoughts, to connect with others, and to be heard.
Now, this one's a real heartbreaker. Self-blame. When you've been subjected to emotional abuse, it's easy to internalize the messages of your abuser. You start to believe that you're the problem, that you're flawed, that you deserve to be treated poorly. This can lead to a chronic sense of guilt, shame, and self-doubt. You might blame yourself for everything that goes wrong, even when it's clearly not your fault. But listen to me. You are not to blame. The abuse you endured was never your fault. It's time to start challenging those negative self-beliefs and replace them with truth. Let's talk about self-bullying. The critical voice of your abuser becomes internalized, and you become your own worst critic. You might constantly put yourself down, focus on your flaws, or compare yourself negatively to others. This negative self-talk can be incredibly damaging to your self-esteem and your overall well-being. But you don't have to live with that critical voice in your head. Start by becoming aware of your negative self-talk. Challenge those thoughts. Replace them with positive affirmations. Treat yourself with the same kindness and compassion you would offer a dear friend.
Now, this one's all about validation. When you've grown up without consistent love, support, and affirmation, you develop a deep-seated need for validation from others. You crave external approval to feel good about yourself. You might constantly seek compliments, reassurance, or attention from others. But true validation comes from within. It's about recognizing your own worth, regardless of external circumstances or the opinions of others. It's about learning to love and accept yourself unconditionally. Let's talk about anger. Anger is a natural human emotion. But when you've experienced emotional abuse, it can be tricky to express anger in a healthy way. You might have learned to suppress your anger, to stuff it down deep inside, to avoid rocking the boat. But bottled up anger doesn't just disappear. It festers and grows. Eventually, it will find a way to explode, often in unhealthy and destructive ways. Find healthy outlets for that anger. Exercise, journaling, talking to a therapist. These are all great ways to release pent-up anger in a constructive way. Now, this last one is a heavy one, but we need to talk about it. Anxiety and depression are serious issues that affect many people. There's a strong correlation between childhood trauma and a higher risk of developing mental health issues later in life, particularly anxiety and depression. These issues can manifest in various ways. When you've experienced emotional abuse, your brain is literally wired differently, affecting how you respond to stress and emotions. The stress response system is heightened, making you more susceptible to anxiety, panic attacks, and overwhelming feelings of fear and worry. This can be incredibly challenging to manage on your own. It's crucial to be aware of the link and to seek professional help if you're struggling. Recognizing the signs is the first step towards healing. Therapy, medication, and lifestyle changes can make a world of difference. These interventions can help you regain control and improve your quality of life.
Listen, I know this has been a lot to process, but recognizing these signs is the first step towards healing. You've taken a brave step today by acknowledging the impact of your past. If you see yourself in these signs, please know that you're not alone. Millions of adults are living with the aftermath of childhood emotional abuse. But there is hope. There is healing. If you or someone you know is struggling, don't hesitate to reach out for professional help. Stay healthy and take care.
Welcome to Zen Zone Health. Today we're diving into a topic that's close to my heart: mental and emotional exhaustion. You see, folks, so many people are walking around today just plain worn out. They're running on empty and they don't even realize it. We're going to talk about 7 warning signs that you might be mentally and emotionally exhausted. These aren't just little things you brush off. These are serious indicators that your mind and body are sending you a message. Now, I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you this because recognizing these signs early on is crucial. It's like noticing a small leak in a dam. If you address it early, you can prevent a whole lot of damage down the line. So let's get started.
The first warning sign is something I see all the time in my practice: inward focus. Now, this doesn't mean healthy introspection. This is different. This is when someone is so bogged down, so mentally exhausted, that they become fixated on their own negative thoughts and feelings. They lose sight of the bigger picture. The world shrinks down to the size of their own worries. They might start isolating themselves, pulling away from friends and family. Social interaction, which should be enjoyable, starts to feel like a chore, a burden they just can't handle. They might say things like, "I just want to be left alone," or "I can't deal with people right now." And you know what? They're not just being antisocial. They're hurting. They're exhausted. Their internal world is so overwhelming that they don't have the energy for anything else. This inward focus, it's a defense mechanism. It's their way of protecting themselves from further pain and disappointment. But here's the thing. It's a trap. The more they isolate themselves, the deeper they sink into their own negativity. It becomes a vicious cycle. And breaking free from that cycle, well, it takes courage. It takes recognizing that you're stuck in that pattern and making a conscious effort to reach out, to connect with others, to step outside of your own head.
Let's talk about the second warning sign. Constant irritation. We all get irritated, sure. But I'm talking about being on edge all the time, like a short fuse that's about to blow. This is a big red flag, folks. You see, chronic irritation is often linked to an inability to cope with stress, with past hurts, with traumatic events. It's like carrying around a backpack full of rocks, and every little thing that goes wrong adds another rock to the load. Eventually, that backpack gets so heavy, so unbearable, that even the smallest pebble can make you snap. The stress and daily irritations become just too much to bear, pushing you further and further into a state of mental and emotional exhaustion. Now, this irritation can manifest in different ways. Some people become easily agitated, quick to anger. Others become increasingly cynical and negative, seeing the worst in everything and everyone. And some, they internalize their irritation, turning it inwards on themselves. They become self-critical, judgmental, and filled with self-doubt. No matter how it manifests, chronic irritation is a sign that something's not right. It's a sign that you're running on fumes and you desperately need to refuel.
The third warning sign is a big one: lack of motivation. Now, this isn't just about feeling lazy or uninspired. This is about a deep-seated exhaustion that saps your energy and leaves you feeling emotionally drained. Think of it like a runner who's just finished a marathon. They're completely spent, their body and mind utterly depleted. That's what mental and emotional exhaustion does to you. It robs you of your drive, your passion, your zest for life. One of the key symptoms here is something called anhedonia. It's a fancy word that basically means losing interest in things you used to enjoy. Hobbies you were once passionate about now feel like chores. Spending time with loved ones feels draining instead of uplifting. Even simple pleasures like watching a sunset or listening to your favorite music lose their appeal. Along with anhedonia, you might find yourself struggling with daily routines. Getting out of bed in the morning becomes a monumental task. Taking care of basic hygiene feels overwhelming. And don't even get me started on work or school. This lack of motivation, it's not a character flaw. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a symptom, plain and simple. It's your body and mind waving a giant red flag, screaming, "We need a break!"
Chapter 4. The fourth warning sign is something a lot of people struggle with. Sleeping disorders, and I'm not just talking about the occasional sleepless night. Persistent problems with sleep, whether it's difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or even sleeping too much. Depression and emotional exhaustion often go hand in hand with sleep disturbances. It's like a two-way street. Exhaustion disrupts sleep, and poor sleep exacerbates exhaustion. When you're drained, your body is in a constant state of stress. High cortisol levels interfere with your sleep-wake cycle. Emotional exhaustion disrupts your biological rhythms. Chronic sleep problems are a major red flag. They impact your physical and mental health, mood, and energy levels.
Chapter 5. Warning sign number 5. No patience. The fifth warning sign we're going to discuss is a real relationship killer. Lack of patience. And let me tell you, this one can be a real doozy. When you're mentally and emotionally exhausted, it's like your fuse gets shorter and shorter, and even the smallest things can set you off. And you know what I'm talking about, right? The traffic jam that makes you want to scream. The long line at the grocery store that sends your blood pressure soaring. The coworker who chews their gum too loudly. These are the moments when your patience wears thin and you find yourself reacting in ways you normally wouldn't. Now, this lack of patience, it's not because you're a bad person or because you enjoy being difficult. It's a symptom of being overwhelmed, of having your mental and emotional resources stretched to the limit. When you're constantly running on empty, you simply don't have the energy or the emotional bandwidth to deal with even minor annoyances. It's like your brain is in overdrive trying to process everything and it just can't keep up. And you know what? This lack of patience can have a ripple effect on your entire life. It can strain your relationships with loved ones, create tension at work, and even make it difficult to enjoy simple pleasures.
Chapter 6. Warning sign number 6. Disruption of appetite. The sixth warning sign has to do with something we all deal with, appetite. And I'm not talking about skipping a meal here and there. I'm talking about significant changes in your appetite, whether it's a complete loss of interest in food or an overwhelming urge to overeat. You see, emotional exhaustion can really mess with your body's delicate hormonal balance. And when your hormones are out of whack, it can throw your appetite regulation system completely off kilter. Now, for some people, exhaustion leads to a decreased appetite. They just don't feel like eating, even when they're physically hungry. Food loses its appeal, and meals become a chore rather than something to enjoy. For others, it's the opposite. Emotional exhaustion can trigger emotional eating, where food becomes a way to cope with stress, anxiety, and other negative emotions. They might find themselves overeating, especially sugary, fatty, and processed foods, as a way to self-soothe and numb out. Now, regardless of whether you're experiencing a loss of appetite or an increase in cravings, these changes in your eating habits can have a real impact on your physical health. They can lead to nutrient deficiencies, weight fluctuations, and even more serious health problems down the line.
Chapter 7, warning sign number 7, sadness. This final warning sign is one that breaks my heart every time I see it, sadness. And I'm not talking about the everyday blues. I'm talking about a deep, pervasive sadness that seems to seep into every aspect of your life. Now, sadness is a normal human emotion. We all experience it from time to time. But when sadness becomes chronic, when it lingers for weeks or even months on end, it's a sign that something's not right. You see, chronic sadness is often a symptom of depression, and it's one of the most common signs of mental and emotional exhaustion, especially in older adults. As we age, we face a lot of challenges: loss of loved ones, health problems, financial worries, and all of these stresses can take a toll on our emotional well-being. When you're dealing with chronic sadness, it can feel like you're carrying around a heavy weight on your shoulders. You might feel hopeless, helpless, and like nothing will ever get better. You might lose interest in activities you used to enjoy, withdraw from social interactions, and even experience physical symptoms like fatigue, aches, and pains. One of the biggest contributors to this kind of sadness is low levels of serotonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that plays a crucial role in regulating mood, sleep, and appetite. And when serotonin levels are low, it can lead to feelings of sadness, anxiety, and even despair. Well, folks, there you have it. 7 warning signs that you might be mentally and emotionally exhausted. Remember, these are just some of the signs. Everyone experiences exhaustion differently. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe to ZenZone Health for more videos on mental health and well-being. Remember, you're not alone in this. Mental and emotional exhaustion are common problems, but they're not life sentences. There are things you can do to feel better, to regain your energy, and to find your Zen zone. Take care of yourselves.
Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving deep, going heart to heart about something so important, your emotional health. It's not just about feeling happy, it's about understanding and nurturing every part of you. Over the years, I've learned from countless guests, experts, and most importantly from myself, that true well-being starts from within. It's about recognizing your feelings, honoring your experiences, and giving yourself the care you deserve. So, get ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery as we explore 14 powerful ways to boost your emotional health. Let's get started.
Have you ever noticed how holding things in can feel like a weight on your shoulders? That's why expressing yourself is so important. It's about releasing those feelings, letting your true self shine through. Now, expressing yourself doesn't always mean shouting from the rooftops. It can be through art, music, writing, whatever helps you tap into that inner voice. Think about it. When you express yourself creatively, you're not just creating something beautiful, you're also connecting with your emotions in a profound way. And when you share those feelings with someone you trust, it's like a release, a way to lighten the load and feel truly seen. So, find your outlet, find your people, and let your authentic self shine through.
You know, one of the greatest lessons I've learned is that asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. It takes courage to admit when you need support, to reach out and say, "I'm not okay," and that's okay. We all go through tough times, moments when we feel overwhelmed, lost, or just need someone to listen, and that's when having a support system, a circle of loved ones, can make all the difference. Think about it. Sharing your burdens with someone you trust can lighten the load, offer a fresh perspective, and remind you that you're not alone. So, if you're struggling, don't hesitate to reach out. Whether it's a friend, family member, therapist, or mentor, remember, asking for help is a courageous step towards healing and growth.
Life is full of ups and downs, twists and turns. But here's the thing, it's not about what happens to us, but how we choose to respond. That's the power of a positive mindset. I truly believe that even in the darkest of times, there's always a glimmer of light, a reason to hope, a seed of possibility waiting to be nurtured. It's about shifting your perspective, focusing on the good, and choosing to see the glass half full. Now, this doesn't mean ignoring the challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about acknowledging the difficulties while also recognizing the strength within you to overcome them. So embrace the power of positivity and watch how it transforms your life.
We all have those moments of self-doubt, those times when we question our worth or focus on our flaws. But here's the truth. You are amazing just the way you are. It's so easy to get caught up in negative self-talk, to dwell on our mistakes or compare ourselves to others. But what if we spent as much time celebrating our strengths, acknowledging our accomplishments, and remembering all the wonderful things that make us unique? Think about it. What are you good at? What brings you joy? What are you passionate about? These are the things that make you you. So, take a moment to appreciate your talents, your resilience, your kindness. Remember your good points and let them shine through.
Have you ever felt that deep yearning, that sense that there's something more you're meant to do in this world? That, my friend, is the call to find your purpose. Now, finding your purpose isn't always a straight path. It's a journey of exploration, of trying new things, of listening to your heart and seeing where it leads. It's about discovering what truly lights you up, what makes you feel alive, what you're passionate about. And sometimes, it's about taking a leap of faith, stepping outside your comfort zone, and embracing the unknown. So, don't be afraid to explore, to experiment, to follow your curiosity. You never know where it might lead you. Our emotions are like messengers trying to tell us something important, but sometimes we try to silence them, ignore them, or push them away. But what if we approached our emotions with curiosity instead? Think about it. When you feel a strong emotion, instead of judging it or trying to change it, ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? What can I learn from this experience? You see, emotions are not our enemies. They're our teachers. They can provide valuable insights into our needs, desires, and boundaries. So, the next time you feel a surge of emotion, take a moment to pause, breathe, and get curious. What can you learn from this feeling? Emotions can be complex, sometimes overwhelming, but the more we understand them, the better equipped we are to manage them in healthy ways. It's like becoming an emotion detective, learning to identify the different emotions we experience and the triggers that set them off. Think about it. When you can name your emotions, whether it's joy, sadness, anger, or fear, you gain a sense of control. You're no longer at the mercy of your feelings, you're in the driver's seat. And once you understand your triggers, those people, places, or situations that tend to evoke strong emotions, you can develop strategies to navigate them more effectively. We all make mistakes, it's part of being human. But sometimes we hold on to those mistakes, letting them define us, weigh us down, and keep us stuck in the past. But here's the thing, mistakes are not failures, they're opportunities for growth. They're lessons learned, stepping stones on our journey. So, instead of beating yourself up over past mistakes, try practicing self-compassion. Acknowledge that you made a mistake, learn from it, and then let it go. Remember, you are not your mistakes, you are worthy of forgiveness, grace, and a second chance.
You know, we often talk about emotional health and physical health as if they're separate entities, but the truth is, they're deeply interconnected. When you take care of your body, you're also taking care of your mind. Think about it. When you eat nourishing foods, get enough sleep, and move your body regularly, you feel better physically and emotionally. Exercise, in particular, is like a magic potion for your mood. It releases endorphins, those feel-good chemicals that boost your spirits and relieve stress. So, make time for movement, fuel your body with nutritious foods, and prioritize rest. Your emotional well-being will thank you for it.
Stress is a normal part of life, but when it becomes chronic, it can take a toll on our emotional and physical health. That's why it's so important to develop healthy coping mechanisms for managing stress. Now, what works for one person may not work for another. The key is to find what helps you unwind, de-stress, and find your center. It could be meditation, deep breathing exercises, spending time in nature, listening to music, or engaging in a hobby you love. The important thing is to have an arsenal of stress-busting tools at your disposal, so that when stress rears its head, you're ready to meet it head-on. We often extend compassion to others, offering words of comfort, a listening ear, or a helping hand. But how often do we show ourselves that same kindness? Practicing self-compassion means treating yourself with the same care and understanding that you would offer a loved one. It's about silencing that inner critic and replacing negative self-talk with words of encouragement and support. Think about it. Would you berate a friend for making a mistake? Would you judge them harshly for feeling down? Of course not, so why not extend that same grace to yourself? Remember, you are worthy of love, compassion, and forgiveness, especially from yourself. Life is a balancing act, a delicate dance between our responsibilities, relationships, and personal needs. But sometimes, we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle that we forget to prioritize our own well-being. That's why finding balance is so important. It's about creating a life that feels fulfilling and sustainable, a life that honors your values and priorities. Now, balance doesn't mean everything has to be perfectly equal all the time. It's about finding a rhythm that works for you, a flow that allows you to show up fully in all areas of your life. So take a look at your life and ask yourself, Where do you need to create more balance? What can you let go of? What can you say yes to? Sometimes we set ourselves up for disappointment by setting unrealistic goals, aiming for perfection, or trying to do it all at once. But here's the thing. Small steps lead to big changes. Instead of overwhelming yourself with massive goals, try breaking them down into smaller, more manageable tasks. Each small step you take is a victory worth celebrating. Think about it. When you focus on achieving small wins, you build momentum, boost your confidence, and stay motivated on your journey. So don't be afraid to start small. Celebrate every milestone, no matter how small it may seem. Remember, every step you take brings you closer to your goals.
You know, there's something truly magical about extending kindness to others. It's like a ripple effect, spreading joy, connection, and a sense of purpose. When we practice compassion, whether it's through volunteering, offering a helping hand, or simply lending an ear to someone in need, we shift our focus outward, connecting with something larger than ourselves. And here's the beautiful thing: acts of kindness not only benefit others, but they also nourish our own emotional well-being. So, find ways to incorporate compassion into your daily life. It could be as simple as smiling at a stranger, offering words of encouragement, or donating to a cause you care about.
Incorporating these 14 practices into your daily routine can significantly enhance your emotional well-being. Remember, taking care of your emotional health is a journey, not a destination. It's about making conscious choices each day to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. For further improvement, consider watching videos on natural ways to relieve stress and anxiety, or calming foods that ease anxiety. These resources can provide valuable tools and techniques to support your emotional well-being. Share what factors disturb your emotional well-being in the comments below. Let's create a supportive community where we can learn from each other's experiences and offer encouragement on our journeys to emotional wellness.